So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new webinar by Solarplaza. Very hot topic today, 2025 energy market outlook for Poland and Romania. So today our focus on Central Eastern Europe, lots of insights. So let's begin. With the necessary introduction, I will just say a few words of intro and then I'll leave the words to our very prepared and expert speakers for today, and then as always Q&A, and I'll tell you more about it right away. Quick mention about Solarplaza. We're already more than 20 years in the market, mostly providing, of course, content through conferences and events, but also resources like webinars, white papers, articles on the PV industry, and of course, lately, given the boom of energy storage, including also BESS. So all over the world, Europe, US, South America, Africa, and Asia. Just a few mentions. So for the questions, there's a lot of content, so make sure to use the question box. We will try to answer as many as possible. Can't promise we'll answer them all if there's a lot, but we'll make sure to get the most relevant ones off the book. Technical issues, there's a chat box. There's also my colleagues, Romanian and Didier in the back end that are supporting. So if you have technical issues, we're here to help. And a lot of people ask, yes, we will make the presentation slides available. So give us 1 or 2 days and they will be in your email inbox after the end of the webinar. Quick reminder also, we'll be seeing each other in Warsaw and in Bucharest for Solarplaza Summit Poland PV and Storage and Solarplaza Summit Romania PV and Storage. So if you want to sign up, there's always lots of networking and lots of very interesting content. So here's also a small discount for you if you're willing to join. I'll introduce the first speakers of today. So the presentation is split in two, today's webinar. I'll introduce Michael Salomon first, who's the president of Clean Horizon. Good to have you, Michael. Allow me to joke, right? Because of course you've been part of McKinsey, so I mean, we can count on some amazing slides today. I had to, of course, give that. But I mean, I think everything here, right? What's on the slide speaks for yourself. So very nice to have you, given that you've been really following the let's say the best trajectory and the rise of battery since the early stage. So we're very happy to have you here today. So great to have you, Michael. And also accompanying Michael is Florian Didier, who also is at Clean Horizon. And as you can see, his main focus is over the Polish market. So we'll be deep diving into that today, especially related to storage business model and market analysis. So good to have you, Florian. Before giving you the word, I'll quickly also say that there's also Tatiana Fiodorov with us. She's the managing partner at Fiodorov Law Firm. She will be giving an overview of the Romanian market after that, but I will introduce her at the second stage. That said, in the meantime, I will leave the words and the control of the slides to you, Michael and Florian. So the stage is yours, and we're looking forward to hearing from you on what's going on in Poland and how can this, let's say, storage opportunities be exploited.
Okay, so good to thank you, Nicola. Good to be here today. And as far as my stint at McKinsey, indeed, was 15 years ago, and it was 6 full months. So thanks God, I have more to bring that whatever I I learned when I was there. Okay, so I just want to give a quick intro, 45 seconds on just to, ooh, this is going too fast for me. Just to leave Florian the room, because he's our expert on Poland. But just for those of you that don't know us, so indeed I started Clean Horizon 15 years ago. We've been since then a one-stop shop consultancy working in only in energy storage, and in the storage space we both, I would say, analyze markets, track energy and electricity and ancillary services market prices in about a dozen European countries, and use those forecasts to compute revenue stacks. And we're also an owner's engineer / a technical consultant. So we will, once our clients figure out their business plan, then we can work with them, until the COD of their project. So I think today I'd like Florian to take the lead on this one and explain what is our view on the Polish market for storage, or do we understand, and also what do we, if Florian, if you could give a glimpse of our forecast on how we believe the revenue stack holds for this country. And then once you're done, then I'll take just another quick intro, just a quick word to let the attendees understand where they can learn more. Florian, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I will take control now. Okay, perfect. So we will talk a little bit about Poland today, and our views of the Polish market and the different opportunities for BESS systems. So to begin with, as you may know, Poland still relies greatly on coal power plants, which represent around 60% of the electricity production. But in the past few years, there has been a general consensus about phasing out those coal power plants and shifting towards zero emission sources, so renewable and nuclear, and the gas development as well. And with this consensus, actually the shift towards renewables and zero carbon sources is happening faster than anticipated. So PV development objectives are getting overcome. The coal phasing out is also happening faster than what has been forecasted. For example, in December, PGE announced the closing of a coal power plant 5 years earlier than what was anticipated. The onshore wind regulation is also changing in favor of its development. And according to the last capacity auction results, less gas power plants might be developed because of the invasion of BESS systems in those main auctions for the capacity market. So all of these elements tell us that there will be new opportunities for BESS systems, because the more renewables you have on your electricity mix, the more volatility you have on the markets, the more intermittency you have, the more uncertainty you have on the markets, and this will open new opportunities for BESS systems. So yeah, just to let you know, this graph that you see on the screen is taken from the consultation document of the PEP 2040, so the Polish Energy Policy 2040, which is currently under consultation because the previous governmental objectives were deemed not enough to integrate renewable in the electricity mix. So, as I said, new opportunities with the development of renewables for storage, and this is translated with a huge change in the Polish electricity market, which has been the balancing market reform happening in June 2024, thanks to which BESS systems will benefit from new markets, so new capacity and energy markets, so new sources of revenues as than it was before. So here is a representation of all the markets available for BESS systems. So you have, of course, wholesale markets with the day-ahead and intraday markets, the new balancing markets with the primary, secondary, tertiary reserves. Here, will only talk about these three markets. There's also the replacement reserve, but it's not. Well, BESS are more adapted to these three markets because it's a faster response. They can also participate in the replacement reserve, but it's not the main opportunity here. There is the balancing energy market for the energy activation. And of course, we will talk a little bit about the capacity mechanism, which offers long-term guaranteed revenues for BESS systems. So since what you have to remind is that since June 14th, 2024, there has been the opening of well, new markets that offer great opportunities for BESS systems. And as great opportunities, I mean very high prices of capacity reservation. So for those who don't know, the ancillary services, on these ancillary services, you are remunerated for the capacity you reserve and you make available for the TSO, so PSE in Poland, and you get remunerated in euros per megawatt per hour for each hour that you reserve your capacity. So here you have a weekly rolling average of the primary, secondary, and tertiary reserve since the opening of the markets. So for each graph, you have two curves, which represent the upward and downward reservation prices. So upward for the discharge of the battery, so you inject in the grid, and downward when you charge your battery and you want to withdraw from the grid. So yeah, to have an order of magnitude of the remuneration that the battery could have in 2024. For example, the average price when you add the upward and downward price, the average price on the AFR prices were 90 euros per megawatt per hour. So on AFR, the secondary market. This means that during the first 6 months of opening of the AFR market, the battery could earn 200k euros per megawatt installed. So this is a really good opportunity because during only 6 months of operation, you already earned 200k euros per megawatt installed. So of course, at the very beginning of the market, the price were very high. Now they are getting a little bit lower. Plus we are in winter, so you have a little less renewables, a little less PV, so a little less uncertainty in the grid. So the prices are getting a little bit lower, but the prices are still running at around 50 euros per megawatt per hour. And with this, you can have very good sources of revenues on your BESS systems. So this was the main change happening for BESS project, the balancing market reform, and the very high reservation prices, which you can accumulate, of course, with other markets. And other markets, I'm talking about, for example, the capacity market, which, as I said, offers long-term guaranteed revenues for BESS systems. So how does this work? For the capacity mechanism, you have main auctions and supplementary auctions. Here I will focus on the main auctions, which can provide 17-year contracts for BESS systems. And the idea is to have a fixed price that you receive every year during the 17 year of your contract. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that your system must be available in case of grid stress event or at the order of the TSO. So you participate in the auction, and if you're selected in the auction, so if your price falls below the clearing price, because it's a pay as clear auction, you get remunerated at the amount of the last selected bid. So here, for example, in the last main auction, so it happens every year for a delivery year 5 years later. So last year we were in 2024 for a delivery year 2029, and the clearing price of the main auction was 59k euros per megawatt per year. So this doesn't mean that the battery will receive the 59k euros per megawatt. It means because you have a derating factor applying to battery systems because they have a limited energy reservoirs. So to take this into account, you must apply a derating factor, which is in Poland 61% for now. It has been changed last year. So given this 61% derating factor for a 4-hour battery, it means that out of, for example, 100 euros per megawatt, a 4-hour battery will only get 61 euros per megawatt. And if you have a 2-hour battery, you need to divide this again by 2. So compared to what you get out of the ancillary services and the capacity reservation markets, of course it's less, but the main advantage here is that the capacity mechanism offers guaranteed revenues over a long period of time. So it's good for financing, for the financing of projects, because, well, banks are happy that you have guaranteed revenues for a 17-year contract. And for a little bit of history of BESS in the capacity market auctions. So in 2023, it was the first time that BESS really invaded the capacity market with 1.7 gigawatts of BESS awarded. And in 2024, last year, we had around 2.5 gigawatts of BESS awarded in the capacity main auction. So around 4.2 gigawatts announced for 2028 and 2029. So we can expect a lot of battery development in Poland in the next few years. Okay. Oops. Going a little bit fast. Okay. So what does this mean for battery projects? So when you add all of this together with the ancillary services, the wholesale markets, the capacity mechanism, the capacity reservation, and energy activation, we at Clean Horizon can estimate, well, the profitability of BESS projects using, as Michael will present to you in a few minutes. We estimate this using our price forecasts and our optimization tool, Cosmos. So this is the results here that you see on the slide. The results for a 2-hour battery, 50 megawatts, 100 megawatt hour BESS project operating in Poland with commissioning date in 2027, so beginning of 2027. And you see that we reach 2-digit IR and a 2-digit beginning with 2. So a very profitable project, especially thanks to, well, in the first years of the project, the capacity reservation markets, and especially FCR and AFR, the primary and secondary reserve. But of course, in our models, we take into account the cannibalization of such markets. So of course, very quickly, since a lot of BESS are expected to get developed in Poland, those markets will be saturated. So we take this into account. And in the further years of the project, there is a shift of the revenues towards more trading, more energy markets with the MFR energy activation, the AFR energy activation with the joining of the Picasso and Mari platform, which is also great opportunities for BESS systems. More day ahead, and on top of all of these markets, you always have the capacity mechanism that every year provides you guaranteed revenues. So here is what the revenue stack looks like for this 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt hour battery. You have, well, a lot of revenues from the FCR and AFR capacity reservation in the first 2 years of the project. And as I said, because these markets will be saturated very quickly because of the development, the quick and rapid development of BESS in Poland, there is a shift towards more energy activation markets and more trading activities to diversify this revenue stack and still have profitable activity in Poland. Yeah, so to sum up, great opportunities thanks to the opening of the markets, of the ancillary services markets with the balancing market reform, and of course still the capacity mechanism, which offers guaranteed revenues for BESS systems, and which has been very popular in the previous two auctions. And now I will let Michael present our services with our Cosmos tool for the optimization of the battery and our forecast, our price forecast.
Thank you, Florian. Don't worry, guys. I'll be very fast. He gets to do the interesting part, and I got to do the propaganda. That's what you get. So I'll be very quick. Just so you understand where this all comes from, take a screenshot here because I'm going to change the slide as soon as I figure out how this works, like this. Yeah, there you go. So basically, what the one slide with the color there that was shifting away from bluish capacity towards yellowish, which was more energy trading. It comes from two sources. The first one is we make a price forecast on the energy prices in Poland. Florian just showed, some extract of that, and then those forecasts are injected into an optimizer. Actually, it's a simulator that simulates a reasonably good trader, and that simulator we call it Cosmos. So I won't bug you guys with too much, boring details, but look, this is Europe there, and the dark blue countries are where we do forecast now. The light blue countries are the next two countries in which we will start doing forecast this quarter, and we will be also adding forecasts in Romania and Great Britain, in the summer this year. So our goal is to be able to provide regular forecasts and to update them regularly on the key European markets. That's number one. Number two, if this works, there you go. As I said, those forecasts are injected into a platform where we run the optimal where we do optimal simulations, and this platform is called Cosmos. I won't again bore you with the details there, but I just want the more technical of you to understand that this is a very powerful engine where we can very precisely define and design projects. And just for the more technically oriented people listening in, the way this tool works, the reason why I'm saying it simulates a very good trader as opposed to being an optimal simulation is it does two things. It combines perfect foresight. So I'll give an example. For example, if you're trying to simulate how the asset will be dispatched tomorrow, then Cosmos reads the forecast day ahead prices for tomorrow and assumes that it is known. Just like in real life, a trader actually knows what will be the energy price tomorrow, and based on that knowledge that Cosmos has for tomorrow, it creates a dispatch plan for the next day. But there are some other markets, like for example on this slide, AFR energy, for which we assume a real trader has no good approximation for what happens tomorrow. So Cosmos, just like a real trader, will make bets based on past values, past prices on this market. It will make bets, and once the following day realizes itself, then Cosmos will see if that bet was a winner or a loser. If it was a winner, then it repeats it the next day, and if it was a loser, it changes it a little bit. So that's essentially how Florian was able to generate the slide that I just showed. First, a forecast for which he gives you some extract, and then running Cosmos, which again simulates a human being with good knowledge of trading. Now, I also want to give you one more piece of information, which you can actually go and find on our website for free. Everything I said now and everything Florian mentioned was using Cosmos based on forecasts on future energy prices, but you can do the same on past data, and this is something we brought to the market last week, actually, and which we intend to keep bringing for the next years. That means that we're using Cosmos based on realized and real market data to compute what we call a storage index. The storage index means we compute every month how much money storage that would have been traded by a trader using the same rules of functioning as Cosmos, how much would this storage have made if if Cosmos was a trader? And so I'm just taking a screenshot here of our website. Again, I invite you guys to go there. It's just cleanhorizon.com, and then you can see what we have for Poland, and for Poland, just mimicking and mirroring what Florian was saying. The number you find here is not the amount of money that a megawatt of storage makes a month. It's the money that could have been made this month multiplied by 12 in order for us to be able to show annualized revenues. And so that's why when Florian mentioned that ancillary services markets were opened up in June, you see that around the summer, the amount of money annualized that a storage asset could make was tremendous. Uh, Exceeding in some cases €1 million per megawatt annualized. It means that during this month, the money that was made was 1 million divided by 12. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you guys to put in perspective what Florian said, and right now I will very gently pass the baton to Nicola and Tatiana to switch the topic away from Poland and move to Romania, and voila, at your disposal for any question.
Thank you, Michael. And I think I mean, I don't think we'll definitely get back to this. So I do remind, please send in your questions. We're receiving some already, especially because I mean, these are topics which, we saw the graphs now for Poland, but when it comes to indeed curtailment, negative price, and how to exploit them through storage, this is also something which we see also in Romania. So please send in your questions. As mentioned, I will now move to the next slide and switch from Poland to Romania. And I will introduce to you very quickly Tatiana Fiodorov. Good to have you, Tatiana. You are, let's say, a recurring flyer at Solarplaza, also in the Romanian market. And she's the managing partner of Fiodorov Partners. I mean, it's your law firm, so good to have you. With you, we'll get a quick snapshot over the Romanian market, what's going on, especially related to development and the latest regulatory updates. Once again, for those who are listening, send in your questions, and after this, we'll have the Q&A. But Tatiana, I leave the stage to you.
Thank you, Nicola. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Today I will discuss the regulatory framework for battery energy storage in Romania. As we all know, energy storage is playing an increasingly important role in ensuring grid stability and integrating renewable energy sources efficiently. However, developing such projects comes with specific permitting challenges and commercial consideration that investors must navigate. Despite the previous presentation of Florian highlighting significant grid capacity allocation in Poland in 2023, Romania only regulated technical norms that year, with market activity picking up in early 2024, putting Romania a little behind Poland in this regard. This is why today my presentation will be focused on permitting and on commercial exploitation. But I want to emphasize the permitting challenges, focusing on building permits, urban planning, and grid connection. So on this slide, we do have a scheme on permitting period, and in purple I have inserted the challenges when they arise. So I'll go throughout this. One of the first aspects to clarify is that battery energy storage system are not mandatory for all new projects in development. So in Romania, we see both standalone projects I have a little trouble with the slides.
No worries. Tatiana, we get you back on track. Let's
Thank
see
you.
if we can put you back onto that slide. Give a second.
I
So
just need my first slide, please.
So maybe Tatiana, if you prefer, you can just we'll change the slide so to avoid confusion. Here we go. I think we're here. Perfect.
So in Romania, we see both standalone storage projects and the co-located projects where storage is added to either an existing operational power plant or a new developed one. When it comes to obtaining the building permit, investors must first secure a land right, namely the superficies right over the land until the COD, which has become a regulatory requirement following the latest amendment to the grid connection regulation. A key point here is that this right must be secured until the COD. Previously, this was not an explicit requirement, and now it adds some complexity in the project timeline. And this is why this is because the COD itself is often uncertain given the number of endorsement and approvals required. Many investors in our practice have been asked by TCO and DCO to provide longer superficious terms than initially agreed, which cause renegotiation with the landowners. Regarding the zonal urban plan, and we can see in the scheme the phase of zonal urban plan. This requirement has been theoretically removed. However, in practice, we still see uncertainties. In case of extramuros areas outside the city limits, some local authorities still require a zonal urban plan despite the legislative clarification enacted during last year. Romanian law generally exempt energy production and storage projects from requirement of a zonal plan, but in practice, as I already mentioned, there are different interpretation among local authorities. Some chief architects continue to require this zonal plan for standalone battery energy storage, not also for co-located, only for standalone, arguing that the exception applies only to co-located storage facilities. Additionally, for projects in the intramuros within the city limits, another challenge is that due to small land footprint, neighbor approval may be required if the project changes the functional zoning of the area. Beyond the permitting and financial requirements, we have a new regulation in terms of foreign direct investment, which add another layer of complexity for investors in energy storage. One critical aspect about this is the sanction of absolute nullity of unauthorized investment. Actually, the law provides that agreements or clauses involving direct investment from you or a new investment made without proper authorization are subject to absolute nullity. This means that such transactions can be retroactively cancelled, affecting all related acts. In this context, the battery energy storage project permit if this is cancelled, any permits based on that agreements, such as grid connection permit, will also be invalidated. In terms of grid connection process for battery energy storage, this is mainly regulated through the grid connection regulation and technical norms, which were introduced 2 years ago. The technical norms define the minimum technical requirements for connecting battery energy storage. and the step-by-step process for notifying authorities and conducting tests. One key clarification here is that as of the entrance into force of the technical norms, we can clearly state that storage capacity is not considering supplemental to the generating capacity. Also, in 2023, the timeline for putting battery energy storage projects into operation was shortened. And another aspect to be mentioned, an anticipated regulatory change is the one provided by Order 53, expected to enter into force starting 1st of January next year. This order will introduce tenders for grid capacity allocation. Prior to this, and currently in Romania, in terms of grid capacity allocation, the principle first come, first served applies. So starting next year, it is envisaged to have tenders for grid capacity allocation. By July this year, Transelectrica, which is Romanian TCO, is expected to issue specific procedure for implementing these tenders. The regulations specify that in awarding a grid capacity zone, authorities will consider existing ATRs, connection certificates, and operational power plants. While these aim to prioritize serious projects, it also raises some concerns about speculative projects that have secured grid capacity without real development plans. And to address this speculative grid reservation, Romanian regulators have implemented two key measures. The first one relates in the financial bonds for the grid connection permit, which consists in a financial guarantee required for obtaining the grid connection permit. Under the recently amended grid connection regulation, investor must provide 5% of financial bond for grid connection permit. The guarantee amount must be communicated to the applicant within 10 days after selecting the grid connection solution. And this must be secured before the ATR issuance, meaning that the ATR issuance is contingent not only on paying the ATR fee, but also on securing the financial bond. We now face some different interpretation of this amendment because the amended regulation does not specify a maximum deadline for securing the financial guarantee and any penalties thereon, such as the invalidation of the solution study if the guarantee is delayed. So actually this may lead to also block the grid capacity without real development plans. And as a second measure that has been enacted is concerning stricter conditions for a grid connection contract. Transelectrica has enacted internal regulations which allow extension for a maximum 2 years, one time only, provided that investor proves at least 25% payment for the equipment or a minimum of 10% physical execution. If these conditions are met, the grid connection contract is subject to automatic termination. Last but not least, an important aspect is missing. It refers to fire security regulation, because starting last year, battery energy storage are allowed to be developed in the intramuros within the city limits. But in terms of fire safety regulation, we see a lack of a specific regulation for battery energy storage in Romania. Given that there are risks associated with lithium-ion batteries, so it would be highly recommended to be enacted clear safety standards. And in terms of the commercial exploitation, if you can help me with the next slide, please. Next one, please. We have an important aspect which has been clarified during end of last year uh, through an emergency ordinance. A major financial burden on energy storage operators has been eliminated, namely the double taxation, making storage more economically viable. Prior to this, the taxation of stored energy at both the storage and reinjection stages discouraged investment. And we consider that this amendment with best practices in energy market encourages greater flexibility. So, in conclusion, Romania has made significant strides in regulatory battery energy storage, but investors still face some small uncertainties during the permitting and also commercial exploitation of this power plant, this battery energy storage projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you. And I would say let's move to, if you agree, to the Q&A. There are a lot of questions, so I'm very happy about that. So let's try to put them a bit in order. Let's maybe get back to Michael, to you, and Didier, also Florian, sorry, because we'd like to first understand a question regarding the balancing market, right? So we'd like to understand if in order to participate in the AFAR market, what kind of battery should an investor use? Are we talking about 1, 2, or 4 hour duration? What's your reply to that?
So actually the rules for storage systems, since it's quite recent markets, the rules applying for storage systems are not very precise in Poland. But our assumption is that we took technical assumptions of other European countries to estimate the best revenues. And we took into account that to provide 1 megawatt on AFR with a battery, you need to have 2 megawatts installed and 4 megawatt hours available in your battery. So
Okay.
you can still participate in the AFR market with a 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour battery. The thing is, you will be able to certify less capacity on these markets.
Okay, very clear. Thank you. And also maybe I'll quickly ask a related question before you quickly we very quickly touched upon also on the topic of degradation. So do you need to also take into account the degradation factor to calculate capacity revenue, or is that set aside? Is that excluded?
So in the capacity mechanism, yes, you also need to take into account the degradation of the battery because, well, the energy and the duration of your battery will decrease, so you won't be able to get the total remuneration. So you need to take into account the degradation.
Okay, clear. And allow me also maybe two more questions as we're seeing the ones that are coming in. I think this is quite an interesting one. If you allow me to filter, is of course we saw the graph on the estimate of FCR prices, very attractive. When do you think actually this will start to fall? Do you think that there's let's say a critical break-even point of let's say installed volume that will then lead prices to go down? What's your view and estimate on that?
Yes, so in our very good question. In our estimations, we take into account a saturation of the market happening around 2028, 2029. At this point, the best installed capacity in Poland in our forecast will be around 4 gigawatts, 4 to 5 gigawatts. So yeah, at this point, 2028, 2029, we can expect a saturation of these markets, these ancillary services markets.
Okay, very clear. I mean, so her message will be tap into it now, right? And this is the time. But and also, I think this is quite an interesting question. I mean, this comes up a lot of time, right, related to return metrics. I mean, before you shot a double-digit IRR. I mean, that's music, I think, for investors' ears, right? Especially given that solar is not so much alone remunerative. So a question here is, do you think that for CODs, the IRR will still be attractive from 2029, given that the ancillary market will become slowly saturated? What's your view on that?
Yes, so once the capacity reservation markets are saturated, there will be a lot of other opportunities for BESS systems. So Poland will join the Picasso and Mari platform, so you will have the energy, AFR and MFR markets. The day ahead and the intraday markets will also go from a 1 hour time step to a 15-minute time step. So this will add volatility on these markets. So again, more opportunities for BESS systems. The capacity mechanism is supposed to still run as it is right now for some years. So yeah, I'd say the saturation of the markets. Well, if you can develop your project, the earlier the better, because you get the capacity reservation revenues. But even if you miss this opportunities, you still have other things to do on the energy markets. Plus, the participants will be their opportunity cost on the capacity reservation market. So the prices won't be totally zero on these capacity reservation markets. So yeah, we can still run a business model with the COD in 2029, I'd say, in Poland.
Okay. That's I think that's clear. Allow me to loop in also Tatiana. Tatiana, because we have also some questions for you. I would say this question is partially for you, but of course, I would say also perhaps Clean Horizon could also share your thoughts here. Let's say when it comes to Romania, then we can also tell about Poland. What do you see as the standard BESS capacity installed in hybrid projects? We got a question if you see a level of around 15%, 15%, of installed PV capacity, or do you personally see different values? Maybe we can let Tatiana comment for Romania, and then, gentlemen, if you also maybe want to share your thoughts, perhaps for Poland or other markets that you see. But Tatiana, what's your thought?
I think the growth of battery energy storage system will be crucial to support both solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources. And in terms of battery energy storage development, as I already mentioned, Romanian is quite behind Poland in this regard. However, starting last year, we have encountered a lot of requests in this respect. We see that in terms of commercial exploitation, there is no the clear understanding of the feasibility and economical revenue of these projects. However, considering the last amendments which eliminate double taxation of storage electricity, we expect the battery energy storage to increase in capacity, particularly in projects aligned with the regulations, and we expect substantial growth.
Okay, and maybe I let Jamal also, maybe both of you comment if you see actually, of course, the case for hybrid projects, and perhaps what percentage of that capacity with respect to PV is actually absorbed by storage in a typical project configuration.
So honestly, I cannot give a precise percentage of BESS capacity installed in hybrid projects. That's a difficult question. You have to bear in mind that Polish BESS market is really recent, so you don't have right now a lot of BESS capacity installed and operational in Poland. We will see in the next few years, because since 2023, battery projects, through hybrid projects, can participate in renewable auctions. So we will maybe see some further development of hybrid projects. But I know PGE launched a request for proposals for to install batteries on their PV sites. But right now I cannot give a precise percentage of battery in hybrid projects.
That is true. It's an ongoing tender. For those in Poland that are familiar with it, that is in the case. And maybe Tatiana, still staying with you in still not running away from Romania. We would like to know if the PV and BESS projects have their own grid connection contract. So let me specify here the question that came in. One of the attendees would like to essentially know if you have a BESS project that is installed behind the meter, if under Romanian regulation you can provide ancillary services with such a BESS project. Could you maybe clarify that?
Yes, for sure. Under Romanian regulation, providing ancillary services is allowed for BESS system to participate in an ancillary services if they are connected to the grid. But as far as I'm aware, this is not allowed to behind the meter battery energy storage, as they
Okay.
are not part of the grid.
Okay, and I think also having a look at the time, maybe we can take one more question. I will go back to the topic of the rating factors that was discussed during the initial presentation. One question, of course, this is I would say a question for Clean Horizon is, do you believe that based on this, new rating factors, let's take, for example, the four-hour project, do you need that it will need to be repowered or have some kind, let's say, of augmentation in order to sustain its capacity obligation? Or do you think that it's more, let's say, of a static asset that does not need power ups or improvements?
So the rules for the capacity mechanism is that for the capacity you are certified for, you need to be able to provide such power during a 4-hour duration. So even if you're not a 4-hour BESS, if let's say, for example, you have a 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt hour BESS, you won't be able to certify your 50 megawatts because you won't be able to keep this power for 4-hour duration, but you will be able to certify 25 megawatts. So if your energy decreases, you will certify less capacity on the capacity mechanism. So if you want to certify the same amount of power on the capacity mechanism, yes, you will need to augment your system to provide more energy and then have a longer duration. But in the rules, it says that for the capacity you're certified for, you need to be able to provide this power for a 4-hour period.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have a very long list of questions. Unfortunately, I mean, we probably need 1 more hour, I think, to address them all. But eventually, I will let you get in touch directly, you know, to follow up on them. Also because we want to be, you know, precise with the sake of time. We promised 1 hour after lunch, so we actually, you know, hope, but I do believe that the content was really useful for those of you who joined. Again, Poland, Romania, two very attractive markets. We'll be talking about them very soon. So let me quickly remind you that Michael, Florian, but also Tatiana will be seeing each other, right, at both our Polish and both our Romanian summit dedicated to PV and storage. So Solarplaza one, you can still make use of the discount code in order to secure your spot. So at this point, you know, big thanks, because it's been really nice presentations, very insightful insights. Once again, for those who joined, we will make the slides available, so don't worry, it'll be in your inbox. Just give us 1 or 2 days. And thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you all.